So I thought we'd take some time to look at how to speculate safely. In one of my previous episodes entitled, How Much Money Do You Have in the Bank? I make the very important distinction between speculating and investing because I think so many people have money in 401ks and mutual funds and other standard vehicles that they think of as investing, but really, according to my definition, those are really speculative investments. Real investments give you cash flow, right? A real investment pays you, it provides you with income. If you park your money into some investment and you're hoping for capital gains, you're hoping it's going to go up in value, that is speculating by definition. But I also want to point out, I'm not against speculating. So I thought in this video we'd take a quick look at what speculating is, how it works, and how you might actually do it safely. So first of all, proper asset allocation, right? You want to have proper order of operations. Set up your defense first, and then set up your offense, right? So protection first, which means, robust insurance policies that give you good protection across the board, right? Or at least modest protection across the board. Savings, ideally in something like a properly designed whole life insurance policy where you have guarantees and where you're not taking on risk, right? And then once you have your defense in place, then you can look at playing offense, which means investing for cash flow, increasing your income with things like businesses and cash flowing real estate. And then you can speculate, keeping your position sizes appropriate according to the diagram here, right? You don't want to be putting a lot of money into speculative investment vehicles where you don't have a lot of control over them, right? You're really just hoping for capital gains based on some investment thesis that you might have. So the first and most important element to speculating safely is don't do it first. First, set up your defense. Protection first, then savings, then investing, and then speculating, and always keep your position sizes rational. Do not put more money into a speculative investment vehicle than you can afford to lose. So once we understand proper order of operations and proper position sizing, we can look at speculating. I actually used to run an investment newsletter where we did a lot of speculative investments. So I'm not against speculation, provided that it's done properly and with the proper order of operations. So after you set up your defense, right, with the proper insurance coverage in force and savings and specially designed whole life insurance, then you can look at potentially investing and speculating safely. So again, we have to be careful to make good distinctions between investing and speculating. Okay, so most of the standard investment vehicles that you see out there, like 401ks, IRAs, mutual funds, all of these things are actually speculations, not investments, because they don't pay you. They don't provide you with income. You're parking your money in somebody else's jail where you hope that it goes up in value, but you have no control over it, no liquidity, and it's not paying you. So those are speculations, and it's fine to speculate. But if you're going to speculate, I think there might be better vehicles for speculating, right? So again, I'm not against speculation. There is a place for intelligent, disciplined speculation in everyone's portfolio, okay? And because of all of the distortions we've seen created by government interventions and other things throughout the years, I think actually it's a really good time to be a speculator, honestly. I'm not against speculating as long as it's done properly. And by the way, speculating is certainly not required to become financially free. Okay, there are many people out there who have achieved financial freedom without speculating. So it's certainly not necessary, but it can help. It can be a nice shot in the arm, right? And here's some actual results we've achieved. Back when I was running my investment newsletter, right, we got a 9,100% return on a small resource stock and a 13,549% return on a disruptive tech play. That's enough to turn $1,000 into $135,000 or $10,000 into $1.35 million. So if you're going to put your hard-earned money at risk, then this might be a better place to put it than in quote-unquote the market, where 100% of your capital is at risk, and you're hoping for an 8 to 12% return. Why don't you instead maybe take small amounts of money where you're hoping for 9,000% plus returns? So 100% of the capital you're putting in is still at risk, but there's a much higher upside, right? So that risk-reward trade-off makes a little more sense to me. Again, I'm not giving you investment advice. I'm just showing you how, as an example, venture capital firms and professional speculators who do this for a living think about this. They're not buying mutual funds. So one of the most important things about speculating safely is you want to look for asymmetric risk, right? Where there's a very high upside, but your downside is limited. And the way you limit your downside is simply by using small position sizes, right? Because whenever you put your money into a speculative investment, then by definition, your money is at risk. So don't risk any more than you can afford to lose. And you have to put your money into a few different speculations, because many of them, by their nature, are not going to work out and you're going to lose money. So here's an example. We're going to put $1,000 into 5 different speculative investment vehicles. We're using small uniform position sizes. Okay, so 5 different $1,000 investments. So now let's say 4 of those investments go to 0, which is not an unlikely scenario where 4 of your 5 investments doesn't pan out. Because again, remember, these are speculative investments. Okay, so that's a $4,000 loss on our original $5,000 total investment. But the remaining position goes up 7,400%. Again, this is a real example based on real results we've actually achieved. Okay, so now what that means is you saw a $74,000 gain on that 5th speculative investment. So with only a 20% win rate, right, we lost on 4 of the 5, we subtract out our $4,000 loss from those 4 that went to 0, and we still come away with on net a $70,000 investment return on our initial $5,000 investment. So we saw a $70,000 net gain from a $5,000 investment with only a 20% win rate. So that's the power of intelligent speculation and asymmetric risk. We risk a little to win a lot. But you've got to choose intelligently, use disciplined position sizing, and have the patience to hold through extreme volatility. It is not a smooth ride up to a 7,400% gain. We can help with this. So again, you may be getting excited when you see some of the gains that we've achieved. I want you to pull that back, because understand that does not happen the vast majority of the time. Okay, I like sports analogies, right? The analogy here is baseball. Okay, in baseball, a 300 batting average is good. That means you're failing 70% of the time, right? Speculating is similar, right? Remember, in the previous illustration, we were failing 80% of the time, right? The difference is on our successes, we see such large gains that it makes up for all those losses, right? So if you're going to speculate, anytime you put your money into a speculative investment vehicle that has very high upside, you need to prepare yourself to lose, right? This is the very important psychological dimension of this. You got to be willing to take a lot of losses, and even on your winners to hold through extreme volatility. So this is not for everybody. And again, you've got to have your defense set up first, and you've got to use small position sizes. So be prepared for losses and distance yourself emotionally from your speculations. Patience and discipline are key. It's going to take time for some of these to pan out, and most of them will not pan out. Okay? So the most important thing is only invest small amounts that you can afford to lose. Right? Never speculate with money that you cannot afford to lose. Keep in mind, when you put your money into a 401k, into an IRA, into a Roth, into mutual funds, into index funds, 100% of your capital is at risk. Just important to keep that in mind, right? All of that money is at risk. So in terms of the amount of risk, there's really not a lot of difference between these investments and those, right? Those investments could also lose value, and it's spelled out very clearly. All investments carry risk. They disclose that to you when you sign up. Okay. The difference is I don't think most people expect to get a 1,000% return when they buy an index fund, right? So again, when you invest your money, don't hope for big gains, because in most cases that is not what is going to happen. Every time you put money into a speculative investment, emotionally kiss that money goodbye, distance yourself from it, right? And pretend like it doesn't exist, because the majority of the time you will lose. You will lose. So don't, people don't go broke out of fear. People go broke out of greed. Don't over leverage your positions where you're hoping for these huge gains. They may happen. They may happen. But it's not worth taking on the risk. Don't risk your current lifestyle for the hope of a future better one. That doesn't make sense. Okay. But if you're going to speculate, at least do it in a way where the risk-reward trade-off makes sense. Again, asymmetric risk. Why put 100% of your money at risk in the hope of an 8 to 12% return? But it might make sense to put small amounts of money at risk for potential 10,000% returns. And if they don't pan out, maybe it was worth the risk, and you only lost a small amount of money, so it's not really going to put even a dent into your retirement plan. Okay, so I'm not against speculating. Speculating can really move the needle on your net worth. Okay, but it's absolutely not necessary. Okay, and it's certainly not for everyone, right? And proper order of operations. The more you're going to speculate, the more important it is that you have your defense set up first, that you have a good, robust defense, right? The main reason why a lot of people struggle with their retirement plans, it's usually not because their investments didn't pan out, actually. It's usually health related. It's usually they had some kind of unforeseen event where life happened. Again, usually health related, cancer diagnosis, or parents going into long-term care, or something like that, where it starts to drain their savings and they have to raid their investments and so on to pay for that. That's the sort of thing you want to indemnify yourself against before you start doing something like this. Okay. So again, offense wins games, defense wins championships. The defense is necessary if you want to become wealthy. The offense can help. Speculating can certainly help, but it's not necessary. So set up your defense first, and then you'll be in a position where, if you want to, with some intelligent, well-placed, disciplined speculations, you could potentially really dramatically move the needle on your net worth. And if you want to talk about it a little further, feel free to schedule time with us.